explicit comments of any kind to anyone mentioned in this video on behalf of me or yourself. The purpose of this video is to give my commentary and opinion on matters of public concern. Thank you. Order. We have to talk about the Bonnie Blue documentary. Dare I say it was disgusting. It was disgusting.
Disgusting!
Okay, I've been working on my different UK accents. Let me know in the chat. Or the comments. Make sure you didn't get unsubscribed too. So Bonnie Blue, her real name is not Bonnie Blue. It's Tia something, Dollinger or something. I don't know. She just got her name, her real name came out because in tangent with this documentary, she recently went viral again. And no, not for the depraved Marina Abramovich petting zoo moment. That never was. No, not for that. This one was she was trying to set a world record for having the most. I'm going to try to keep it PG out here. I'm trying to follow all the rules and be friendly to, you know, you're going to have to maybe fill in the blanks on your own. You have to use your reductive or whatever reasoning on this one, y'all, because I'm trying to keep it cute. All right. It's just disgusting. So Bonnie Blue, she went viral because she wanted to set a world record. Now, this did go viral several months back. It was like beyond viral, actually, because it had transcended virality onto the real news all across the world. Okay. And she was doing this challenge. How many, you know, what's the world record? She was trying to have a challenge of 1,000 participants in this romp, if you will. Now, she was going to make the romp available for sale on OF, if you know. I guess, you know, that was kind of the last I heard of it until more recently. And importantly, these 1,000 participants were supposed to be amateurs, which, I mean, I talk about all the time on this channel how they call anything. I'm going to flag at least a few of the non-exhaustive examples of this as we go through. So these amateurs are like basically dudes off the street. Okay. And then there's been another content creator of the same ilk. You know, this is the world we live in. These are content creators. What I do is considered to be a content creator. You know, I do not consent personally. That's one of the reasons I got to use my little platform right here to tell y'all what has happened. Okay, what has transpired and from my understanding. So this little stunt, it was supposed to take all day. And then Bonnie, she was basically going to put this footage on her OF. Okay. Before she could do that, or right as she did that, the video gets taken down. People advertise Visa, the payment processors and things, you know, different things. People are threatening, you know, to stop working with the whole website, the whole platform of OF because of what Bonnie Blue is doing. One thing leads to the next. And for some reason, a documentary was then made and put on a news channel that was started by the British government. She got kicked off OF. Maybe this footage never had to be seen. Maybe we never had to talk about it again. The British started, and I want to be very careful not to say funded because apparently it's publicly funded, but it's like, who funded this? I can tell you who did approve it. Who approved it had to have been, according to the AI overview on Google. Channel 4 was created by the British government and is overseen by a board appointed by the Department for Digital, Culture, Media, and Sport. The department meaning like a government department. So this is like the board oversees the Channel 4. That's who put this depraved. It was too rough for OnlyFans. It was too gross for them. They said, no. Visa's gonna pull out. No pun intended. Oh. So they unleashed this documentary on the world stage. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say the world stage because it's actually pretty difficult to watch this documentary. You gotta have like a VPN or something because it's really only supposed to be for Channel 4. It's only supposed to be for the people in the UK. But girl, I saw it. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what I saw. At least what I thought was important and what I could remember from the trauma of even having watched the thing. I mean, it was so deplorable. We're told early on in this so-called documentary that the goal for it was to get more subscribers on the platform. And then they do this kind of like, I don't know if it's like a sob story type of thing or what. I'm supposed to feel bad for her or something. I really don't exactly know. But it's like, you know, it's so hard to compete out here in these OnlyFans streets. You always gonna have to do something more extreme, more whatever. I don't, you know, I'm obviously paraphrasing, but they're focusing a good bit on like, you know, the why of it all is like, you can't advertise your S-work services, so you have to do it the way that you can. Girl, I don't know. Okay. But they literally said it. You know, a lot of times people often are accused, sometimes wrongfully, even in a federal court, of doing stuff for clicks and likes, and they will do anything for a click and the like, even if it means lying, selling your soul, selling your whatever. But then sometimes people are like actually admitting that, and that's true. You know, when people say that about me, it's like, yeah, right. There's like, I've said it before. If I really wanted to just make money, I would do what this girl does. I would do some extreme, I don't want to make money that bad. I don't want to make £1 million a month. Actually, if it takes that, personally, I don't. But she's like, yeah, we want to get more clicks, more likes. We need more people on the platform. Clicking on my page. They say that. The team says that. Put a pin in the team. We're going to get to them. Anyway, in this documentary, there were entirely uncensored group activities. Okay, entirely uncensored. Now, it wasn't like for like long minutes at a time or nothing. It was like, you know, clips for moments. But it was like, whoa. This is just out unleashed on the whole UK. OF tried to say, no, you can't do this. It's unleashed in this documentary. I had to sit in my living room and watch it. It was so nasty. It was so disgusting. It was so depraved and so deplorable that there was a lot of backlash. I mean, from any and every side of the issue, people that normally don't agree on stuff agreed this was too much. Somebody brought their mom or their mom showed up to get him out of the line. But it's like, I don't even know if that's even true. Like, it just seems like all just stunts. Like, and if it is true, oh my God, like this is where we are in the UK, this girl from Northamptonshire or whatever. And I could see it being a stunt. But that is the thing that you will, I mean, I don't know, maybe you won't. Like, I think when we walk away from the video, I think what y'all might feel is just confused as to like, what's the lines are blurred. She says stuff that contradicts itself. We'll get to it. But it's like all of this almost legal, you know, it's actually, you know, they'll say the word barely and then I'm going to put some words in the middle and then they'll say legal. But apparently if you say those two things together, it gets automatically flagged for check or whatever, because it's like that is unequivocally, unmistakably, and not arguably a category of adult materials. This almost legal. And she'll, you know, she's in the past had these stunts about like allegations of grooming have popped up. Like, you know, if you just turned 18, me and my friend are gonna blah, 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 a bunch of 18-year-olds on the college campus. And it's like, I could see why. We'll get to all that. Anyway, before we get into the main event, I do want to just run through the team real quick. First of all, we cannot get a moment farther without talking about the mom. Because a lot of your question might be, well, what's this girl's mama must be proud? She apparently is, and goes on interviews and says she is.
We've had nice holidays and nice gifts, but that doesn't bother me. She's happy, so I'm happy because she's happy.
And famously, I think it was even Dr. Grande even did. He has even a clip. He made a video about this too. Actually, it's how I found out about it. Shout out to him. So she says something like, if you could earn, if you could earn £1 million in a month. I guess that's like $1 million. I don't know. Maybe more than that. You'd get your bits out too. No. Actually, why? You know what the elephant in the room for me is? Where's her bits? Since it's so lucrative, why she ain't got her bits out? Bonnie Blue's mom takes $2,000. She could make £1 million a month doing that. Why she ain't? She said, you'd lose all your morals. You'd lose all your morals. They'd go out the window. That's not true. It's not true. A lot of people that can make £1 million. A lot of people a lot prettier than Bonnie Blue for as far as this is concerned. She was a beautiful girl until she was whatever she did. I think it was when she allowed the demon to possess her. Now she looks kind of like a Jekyll Hyde demon clown. And it's grotesque what this woman has done. However, it is important to me that we start with the team. We start with the mom. Everybody's on payroll. Everybody's on payroll. The mom too.
My mum said every time I come in this house, it's just everywhere. It was funny because New Year's Eve, they had, my family came over and I was in the living room filming and they all had to be really, really quiet. And they were just like, when can we put the music on or when can we start moving? And I was just in the next room myself and they're just waiting in silence next door.
And so the mom's like encouraging it and she's proud of it. The dad, unsurprisingly, not seen anywhere in the picture, unsurprisingly. However, we're told, allegedly, he's proud of her too.
What does your dad say about it?
Honestly, he loves it. Like, obviously he doesn't sit watching the videos, but like all my social media, my TikToks, he'll have a look at. And he's just proud seeing how happy I am, how much I've been able to support the family. And it's like, it's really changed my life and my family's life. I've got these stamps and it says like, I slept with Bonnie Blue, I want to sleep with Bonnie Blue and stuff. And like, I was practicing them on my dad and my dad was like, I need to go to the pub after this. And he's got like stamps all up his arms to say he slept with his daughter.
He didn't bother appearing in the documentary, for the record. Then there's her husband. We're introduced to the man as her husband, Bonnie's husband. And the documentary goes like half the documentary goes by. Before, I don't know how much exactly, but like a lot of it goes by before it's like this guy just pops on the screen and it's like Bonnie's husband. And it's like, what? When were you going to get to that? She's a husband? But then when you read about Bonnie Blue anywhere else in the world, it's like her ex-husband. But he's on the payroll too, apparently. He's been very supportive. Beyond supportive. And he's like doing an interview. He's like, well, it's not like I wanted to pimp her out, but the money was good. And I'm like, what in the Adam Grand Mason hell? You get out there and do round 2 with Jason Love because we got bills to pay, baby girl. Anyway, there's this guy, Josh. He's like a right-hand guy or whatever. He's like, we are on track to break the world record. Who is we? And that starts to bring back into focus, you know, at any time that one of these adult stars wants to say no to something that so much money and time has gone into, who pays for it if they say no? Who's out of a job? Who's out of a gig? Who's out of a this? Who's out of a that? All these people that traveled. It's perverse incentives and interests conflicting, in my opinion. Now, to hear her tell it, though, y'all, I will let you know, to hear her tell it, everything's all fine and good. She loves it. Okay, so.
It was like Christmas Day on repeat for me. I loved it.
That's what she says. The event occurs or whatever, and Josh assures everybody, this Josh guy, assures everybody that Bonnie has no trauma. There's no trauma from the 1057. And I'm not going to even describe the event. I mean, use your imagination or don't, actually, but it was nasty. It's just nasty. Like, anybody that I've seen reacting to it and talking about it is like, it's just so grotesque. I mean, there was huge backlash to this whole thing. So in the meantime, Bonnie, who had no trauma from this event, according to this Josh creative director. He's the creative director. And then the castle, they do it in like this castle. It's like, okay, what in the Andre Gide, middle of nowhere, Black Forest hell? And it's got all the beautiful gold frames and things. And it's like, no, it's just disgusting. Like, no matter how many times she's like, I love it and this is I love it. It's like, I don't believe it. I can't believe it. There's no way. And if she does, something's seriously wrong with her. But I truly believe it's the demon speaking. After that, you know, the event occurs. Social media erupts. But this documentarian, she lost track of Bonnie. You remember with the Lily Phillips documentary, the guy with the, I forget his channel name, well, you know, whoever it is. Lily Phillips already did a documentary. You know, there was one like that, and it was very famous. I think the most famous part, infamous, was whenever the aftermath of the event, where there was just rubbish on the floor. The cameraman was gagging because of the smell, and in it, Lily cried and said it's not for the weak girls.
It's not for the weak girls, if I'm honest. It was hard. Sometimes you'd like disassociate and be like, you know, like, it's not like normal things at all.
Well, after Bonnie, you know, to hear her say it, she loved it and nothing was wrong with her.
I loved it.
But then once the documentarian caught back up with her, tracks her back down after about 10 days, Bonnie apparently has been sick with the flu for 5 to 6 days. And she says the worst flu she ever had in her life.
5-6 days I've been like bedbound with flu.
I don't think I ever had the flu in my life. Maybe once. People just getting flu all the time. Oh, and at one point she was doing a snow angel on the aftermath. So like in stark contrast to the Lily Phillips crying and saying it's not for the weak girls. In stark contrast, Bonnie Blue laid on the ground, unclothed or scantily clothed. I think it was no clothes. And was doing a snow angel and said, oh, I've been wanting to do this all day. So I put on here, yeah, she's been sick with the flu 5 or 6 days, worst flu of her life. I said flashback to Snow Angel. So she was uncharacteristically silent. You know, you would think she would be using this time to promote or whatever. Well, she couldn't do interviews. She was too sick to do interviews. The publicist ends up planting a story in the UK Sun about the mom who comes get the son out of the line. So it's like they show you on the documentary that they put that story out, and the reason was because they wanted to hype up the event and Bonnie couldn't do interviews. So she ends up getting not only that video removed from OF, but then she also ends up getting kicked off completely. Like, you can't even be on the platform no more. So then that makes her content get even more extreme. So then she does a series of stunts following this because she's spiraling because she doesn't have her OF anymore. So she ends up doing an 8-hour-long bang bang, okay, but you know, change out the first letter, on OnlyFans with all OF creators. She said that one was the hardest one. That was way harder than the 1,000 Men. It was grueling. Basically, Bonnie just got beat up for a few hours. Remember this guy, Josh? All of a sudden, even though he was the one that was like, okay, she wasn't traumatized by the 1,000 guys. He's looking at her here. He's like, she basically just got beat up for like 8 hours. And you know, it's like all these different creators, and Bonnie's in the cab here, and or the car, wherever, cab, car, whatever, and she's like talking about it, and she's like, yeah, no, that one was like more difficult. It was way more difficult than the 1,000 because it was all these guys trying to compete with each other. They all have, they're in this so-called industry. They're trying to prove a point. They also have, subscription things. I don't know. Okay. So she doesn't look good. I mean, she looks like that one really got her. And still she was like, whatever. She said this is what she wants. She wants to be pushed to her limits. She wants to know how far she can go before it stops. She was stopped and asked herself many times, am I still okay? Am I still whatever? And I was. So we kept going. But this I wrote in my notes. I'm like, this is where it starts to look like the people who were previously really down with it and even like, oh, she's not traumatized, are starting to look like have faces like this. So then there's like a series of other stunts, and some of these might be the same ones on top of each other. Maybe it was like publicity stunt on top of S stunt or whatever, but this is how I, remembered it. There's another stunt after that 8-hour long one where she said it was harder, and like that's where I started to feel like it's starting to take an extreme turn. And this time it has to do with this younger so-called creator. We will call her Julia. Now, I know exactly nothing about Julia. I don't know anything about the content she creates. I don't know where she came from. I don't know how old she is. Nothing about her other than what I'm about to, show you that and what I saw in this so-called documentary. But this person looks like she can't be older than about 25, and she might be like 18. Okay, so somewhere in that age. I don't know. Maybe we could look it up. She never really watched pornographic content. Okay, this girl. She never watched it. That's what she says. Maybe that's not true. Now, why is she agreeing to do this? That's a great question. I don't really want to get into it, okay? So this is a quote around 40 to 41 minutes of the documentary quote. She's never really watched, let alone been involved in it. And this is where like my sympathy for Bonnie Blue, Tia, starts to kind of shrivel. Because it's like, obviously her parents are nut jobs. Something is seriously satanically wrong with them. And so clearly they think this is totally fine. Way to like support the whole family. Everybody's in on it. Even the ex-husband, still husband, I don't know. The mom, the dad. But now she's taking people who don't even watch this stuff and making them getting involved in it. And she does this. I don't know which clip it is. Is it this one? It looks uncomfortable. Usually Bonnie's putting on a good show. Usually Bonnie, Bonnie doesn't look excited. She actually looks nervous. Maybe the dose hadn't kicked in. So she ends up like in a group setting of S-acts. I don't know if this girl was just there watching it. I don't know if she was doing anything. I'm not going to look it up and I don't want to know. So like the purpose of this video is not to inform you on the details of that. I'm just looking at what I can see on publicly available stuff where I don't have to look at anything that's behind a paywall. Okay. Here's a picture, though, of her face that I took from the documentary. This is from the documentary, okay? Channel 4 documentary that aired in the UK. This girl, look at her. She's clearly distraught. And not only do we have her body language to read, Bonnie said it was her goal. She said she wanted to traumatize and scar this girl who has, again, I repeat, never even really watched pornography.
I want you to be scarred from it. I'm going to have like therapy on speed. I thought that want you traumatized.
Which again, she could be, that could be all part of the fantasy. But isn't that freaking sick? Part of the fantasy is that you're really scarring and traumatizing a young, innocent person. Girl, boy, anything, anybody. That is sick. And in this documentary, we're going to talk about a little scene later. One of these actresses, so-called actresses, they do admit it. They admit it and they say, yeah, I do think it is that I look so young. That's what they're into. That's why they like it. Anyway, this poor girl, Julia, she even went on one of those degenerate podcasts and says that she regrets participating in this disgusting scene. And she actually even apologized to the public and to her fans. She said she's scarred. She says, I'm scarred and I'm traumatized. Like, she's like, oh, I don't, and this is a public link. Okay, this is public. None of this is OF material content. We're going to put a scrolling disclaimer.
And I do regret it. I'm so traumatized. I was freaking out. Like, if you do see a clip, I'm actually like this the whole time. Like,
anyway, so there's one final disgusting stunt, okay? And it's the last one that I needed to see to know everything I need to know, okay? It's disgusting. And this one was what I was like, okay, I have to tell the people. I have to use my little platform. Maybe none of y'all care, okay? But I'll be damned if I saw this canary in the coal mine and I didn't say something. Something's really seriously wrong. And there's been a lot of people trying to sound the alarm for a long time. But this really, honestly, Thank you, Channel 4. Truly, actually, now that I'm here, I didn't plan to say this, but truly thank you. In a way, Channel 4, maybe you didn't need to really put out all the naked, live S acts, and you could have blurred some things, I think. However, they really did show and document exactly the pipeline, exactly which types of people can lure these young people. It isn't just young girls, too. There are young boys. They don't even have facial hair. These young boys in this so-called degenerate scene. So in this last stunt, Bonnie, again, coming off of that 8-hour-long grueling session where she basically just got beat for 8 hours, I guess she doesn't want to do that kind of thing anymore. She wants to go back to amateurs. So now she's got some amateurs who are actually OnlyFans creators. You know how hard it is to become one of those? You sign up for a freaking account and have some type of ID. So they're OF creators, they're amateurs. Most of them have never done anything even close to this ever. In this supposed scene, not only are these people, first timers and amateurs, they all look very young. Most of them are actually very young. And they all dressed up like school children. And they're in a classroom. And Bonnie is at the front of the classroom. That's going to be the scene. Now, this one, thankfully, I gotta say, at least the version of the documentary that I watched did not have any scenes from this shoot. That's what they're calling it now. But it was troubling and unsettling, truly. I mean, I've honestly tried to put it in the back of my mind, like where I'm not even thinking about it because it's sick. There's like a lot of reading between the lines here because thankfully, and I think that was tasteful, they did not put any scenes, any still shots or anything from once the act started. But you could hear, they did sounds like outside. And they're in a schoolhouse. It's a schoolhouse, a schoolroom. And the Brigitte Macron cosplayer is up at the front. And I keep saying the sick thing. The whole thing's sick. But another sick thing, Bonnie Blue is sitting, explaining. She's like the executive producer, I guess. She's sitting with her legs spread eagle on a desk, explaining how it's going to go. And she's using like the most vulgar language. And then it shoots to these children. One of them said she was 21. So I guess that's an adult. But God, they look so young. They look young. They know they look young. And they're sitting in a desk, in these little desks, like little school desks. Oh, it's sick. And there's this big muscled up guy, and he's like a corn star actor, and he's gonna be, I guess, doing stuff with these adults. I shouldn't say children, I'm not alleging anyone was under age. In fact, I want to say they claim on the documentary everyone's IDs were checked, and they said it on camera, and the people on camera confirmed they're all over 18. So I'm not saying that they're children in the fact of like something, illegal. I do think this probably like what that was shown on camera, I do think is legal. And that's something we got to kind of come to reckon with as a whole full society. P. Diddy, I believe, largely didn't get held to account for a lot of what he really did do wrong because we have normalized this. It's not illegal. It's legal. If everybody's 18.01 second, what about Lil Tay, who's been obviously groomed into degeneracy since she's before 9? Because when she came on the scene at 9 years old, she was already degenerate behavior. And I feel bad for her as a human, as a person. Down in her heart, that's a pure soul somewhere. 18 years old in 1 second, and she started taking customs on OF. Because why? Because people like Bonnie Blue, Lily Phillips, they come out and tell you they're making £1 million a month, and their parents are proud. It must not be nothing wrong with it. I'm here to tell you there's something wrong with it. And it's so wrong that it will eat at you and your soul till there's nothing left of you but a White Walker corpse. I still do feel bad for the Bonnie Blue. I do. Because it's like with parents like that, you got to wonder what they told her right from wrong was what. Some people don't need to be told what's right from wrong. They know. Maybe Bonnie Blue don't. Maybe she didn't. And she's been surrounded now by degenerates who are giving her awards at the Corn Awards. Awards for this. So she has this group, quote, shoot with these young girls dressed as students. And guess what, too? These girls got paid to shoot. No money. You know what their payment was? It was a collaboration. It was going to be the exposure.
Appearing in their socials with Bonnie is payment enough.
And then it just gradually builds up until it's like an orgy.
No, I'm not being paid today. It'd just be I get tagged and then hopefully I get followers and subs from that and then it'll roll onto my page.
The payment and the punishment is the same thing. And the thing is, too, like, I think all of us know that one person from the hometown that got caught up in something, maybe consenting, maybe didn't, and there was a tape, there was a video, and it was like, oh, she did a corn. Like, you those people never, ever, ever, ever got to live that down. Now, think about it on this scale. Bonnie Blue is probably doing the right thing for her survival to act like and to like be so separated from reality, because what's going to happen the first moment she decides she really don't want to do this no more? Who's going to marry Bonnie Blue? Some sick that's into this stuff? No. That's a marriage like Adam and Lena have. They interview these young adults off to the side, the group scene, and they like, one of them's like basically crying. Beautiful, precious, little angel face. Now some of them are like, oh, I'm just watching. I'm just going to watch in the scene. And the big dude in the front, who's going to be watching? Who's going to be? And it's the same guy that's going to be, I think, in the scene. I didn't watch it, obviously. I did not watch it. So I don't know if he is in it, but he's like kind of like contemplating, going back and forth. He's like, well, I mean, they say it's definitely not my comfort zone or whatever, out of my normal thing, but they say they're all on OnlyFans creators and they're all 18, so.
Pushing the boundaries a little bit for me, it's a bit out of my comfort zone. But I'm here. Everybody's over 18. I've checked all their IDs and stuff, and everybody's content creator and stuff.
And it's like, it sucked because it was like, for a moment, that spark of that right thing was roaring in that man. He knew it was something wrong with it. I guess he followed through and did it anyway. Then you have Bonnie herself sitting spread eagle on the desk explaining to the kids, with the young adults, with the vulgar terminology. And then they interview these young adults one by one. And one of them's like, all of them that they interviewed never had done this before on camera with like a S act on camera. Some of them had, but it was just their self with a so-called alleged toy. Some of them were like undecided if they were just gonna watch. Just come in, you can just watch. And then they get there and they're like, oh, well, Bonnie Blue is here and this could be a huge opportunity, so I might as well just do it. Oh, you're just watch? Okay. And then he's like, don't just say you're going to do it because you're in the room here. Like, you're allowed to say no. And it's like, what a freaking messed up situation. Like, technically, yeah. I mean, they're saying the right things and stuff. It's like, yeah, he's saying you're allowed to say no. Don't just say no. And that's true. And I think somewhere deep down, even in that guy, there's some spark of what, like, something's like, let me make sure I tell him. But it's like, that's not enough. That's not enough. If anybody's asking my opinion, what needed to happen was that man, when he had that feeling of like, this isn't normally my thing, but like, they're all 18, they're all OF creators. What would have been, I believe, the right thing to do was to say, I'm out. But how can I judge him for that? Because I never had a whole set waiting on me to do something. Who knows how pressured he felt? Who's his boss? I don't know the whole economy, okay? But what I'm telling you, just looking at this public documentary for the UK, is something's wrong. These people were crying, like, basically. The interviewer's like, you seem nervous. And this precious little girl with her little bang, she's like, I am. One of them's talking about how she knows that the fans like her because she's so small and she looks underage. The thing that gets me is some of them didn't even know if they were going to do it. Like that means to me they were maybe hesitant. The fact they never have done it before means they didn't want to do it before. They never did it before. So it's like Bonnie Blue just coming off of getting beat up for 8 hours by people in the industry. All because of what? Because she doesn't want to be bored at a 9-to-5 job? That's something wrong with her. Why does she do this? I mean, money is one answer. The entire family's on the payroll, like we talked about, especially after she started making money. This is kind of the Britney Spears syndrome, where the whole family is gathered around the table talking about what we're going to do. Who's the creative director? Creative director of an S act. Let's be clear. It's not Bonnie. It's Josh. The mom saying that anybody would show their bits for £1 million a month. Meanwhile, not showing her bits. Where's her bits? Bonnie prefers the amateurs. That's where it's really real, she says. It's not fake then. It's really real. She said in there, in that freaking disgusting scene, the fact they're nervous is good for her. It's good for the scene because sex can be intimidating with a group dressed as school children in a classroom with a woman who just had the flu for 10 days after doing it with 1,057 men. And this is where I really started to wonder whether those predator allegations were true. She only wants to do stuff with very young people or husbands. She wants to do husbands too. But she likes this barely legal. She's like, I like the look in someone's eyes whenever I'm fill in the blank first time, taking their you know what. If a man was saying this, y'all, please. So when people are saying that she's the female Andrew Tate, I mean, it might be in more than one way, not just the shock marketing. And don't, like, the Andrew Tate thing is just right here on the perimeter of this story too, because Creators Inc. and Ryan Pownow are all in this. Bree Stern dated this guy, Ryan Paul now, who has Plug Talk or whatever it's called, Talk podcast. He's like, did those parties at the mansions. Adam and Lena would be there, and he's all in with Creators Inc. Creators Inc. follows Bonnie Blue. Creators Inc. Bree Stern. Creators Inc. had all these fashion shows, and then Bonnie Blue, of course, the end of this documentary, did an interview. She flew to Romania to do a podcast with Andrew Tate, and he dragged her for filth. Oh my God, he dragged her. But it's just so hard to fully ever get on board with anything he says because he's just so hateful to women. She also just, I think, is a little mischievous devil clown just for other reasons. She's always trolling, she's a troll demon possessing the woman. She claims on one side of her mouth that she's good with people doing what works for them. What works for you, you do what works for you, and I'll do what works for me. That's fine. But then on the other side of her mouth, she teases and taunts people, saying the least you could do, women, the least you could do is XYZS act on your man. She says she likes it whenever the husbands show up in her line because it shows that she's doing something that the wives won't do. So that doesn't sound very, you do what you do, I do what I do to me. People will ask her, well, what do you think that the young example you're setting for the young girls and, even women your age, but she said that what I'm doing, that's none of my business. They're not my responsibility. They're not my problem. But the unfortunate reality is they are. They are. And you can believe in, gravity or not. You can believe that the wind blows or not. And you can believe in karma or not. But what you put out into the world does come back to you. And the Bonnie Blues and the Lily Phillipses, they are absolutely, because they are making international headlines, absolutely causing the normalization and the desensitization, at the very least, of some of the most depraved and deplorable things that a young woman can do, a young man can do. It is just humiliating, just secondhand embarrassment to look at these men, boy, who knows, lined up on the block with these blue disposable face masks because they don't want anybody to see them lining up as one of the 1,000 men. And what's her name? But she loves it.
I loved it.
She likes to rage bait. She has the men wearing the wedding rings. She loved that. She said, if you're a wife, keep scrolling. When a girl says it's her, time of the month, there's nothing wrong with her. It doesn't look like she has any plans to stop anytime soon. And I'm just like, okay, what do we have to do? What do we have to do to just put a damper on this type of behavior? Because it really sets an example for the culture, for the children. And I would like to happily announce I've officially entered my full-on anti-era where I'm like, what's wrong with the youths? What's wrong with the children of today? The issue is, I think this Bonnie Blue isn't that. She's old enough to know. She's old enough to now be the one that's pulling in the groom. She's the one that's grooming now, I think, in my opinion. Innocent until proven guilty, I don't know. But, that happened, and it was grotesque. It was detestable, and I rebuke. I do not consent, and I rebuke. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Neither are opinions. I rebuke. Love you, mean it. Okay, bye.